Many thanks for staying with us here on News Desk. To some more stories now, and flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndom, is today naming his running mate for the 2016 general elections. Now, it's unclear who his choice will be this time round, but Joy News checks reveal Dr. Ndom will yet again be presenting a lady who will partner him in his bid to rule the country. Now, in the last general elections, that's the first for the PPP. Its flag bearer, Dr. Ndom, nominated Madam Eva Loko, a former Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, as his running mates. Now, in that election, the PPP came third. And as we all do know by now, Madam Eva Loko is now contesting the Clote College seats on the party's ticket in the upcoming elections. Well, this time again, information available to Joy News suggests a lady, most likely from the Volta region, will be the one to run on the tickets with Dr. Ndom. Let's take you now to the PPP headquarters, from where my colleague Joseph Akable joins me now with some more as to whether or not indeed this name has been unveiled finally. But let's get more now from Joseph Akable. Akable, good morning. Many thanks for joining us on News Desk. Can you tell us what the situation at the PPP headquarters is as we speak? Do we, for instance, know who the running mate of Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndom in the upcoming general elections will be?
Just before I get to that bit, that has not been announced yet, but of course we are keeping our ears on the ground. But it's all about naming the vice presidential candidate for the Progressive Party. As it stands, the second national vice chairman of the party, Belinda Bule, is addressing the gathering, and he's talking about the importance of this event and the fact that the Progressive Party has now transformed itself into a force to contend with, and popularly referred to as a third force. But the main focus will be on the presidential candidate, and in some few minutes time, Dr. Ndom will be doing that. But our sources that we are picking up is that Dr. Ndom will be settling on the team, and the name that I'm gathering on the ground here is Bridget Jokwenuku. Bridget Jokwenuku, we understand she won Miss Ghana some time back, so that is the name I'm picking here on the ground.
So this is the name you are picking on the ground, this person is likely to partner Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndom for the upcoming post. Bridget Jokwenuku. Yes,
and when you speak to some of the party members who are gathered here, they give the indication that if indeed there are suspicion of Dr. Ndom naming this lady comes to pass, they expect that she's going to bring lots to the ticket of the party in terms of attracting not just votes, but again they also add that she's someone who is competent and capable of partnering Dr. Ndom in providing the solutions to the country. So there is lots of hope here for those gathered here, the party members. They are very excited and hope that once this name that I am picking up, if it indeed comes to pass, we expect that that person will indeed bring more to the ticket of the party.
Joseph Akable, many thanks for that update. We'll come back to you in a short while for some more. That is when this very name is finally confirmed. But time now for us to tell you a bit more about this lady whom we are told will likely partner the PPP flag bearer for the upcoming general elections. Bridget Jokwenuku is the founder and executive director of Mentoring Women Ghana, and that's it's a non-profit organization she launched 1 year after participating in Vital Voices Fortune. That's with the U.S. State Department Global Women's Mentoring Partnership in 2008. And again, we are told that she was Miss Ghana for the year 1991. So that's by way of just a bit of a biography on Bridget Jokwenuku, whom we are told, the information we are picking on the ground suggests she will be the person to partner Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndom into this year's general elections. And it's really a bit of a surprise, well, a surprise for some, but not so much for a few more who see this as a move by the flag bearer of the PPP to ensure that he garners a lot more votes. We recall in 2012, he did pick another female candidate. That was in the person of Eva Loko. And like I mentioned in that very intro, they managed to pull quite a huge chunk of the votes, I must say. I mean, for a party that is just coming into elections, one would say they managed to gain some numbers there. Let's go on to the phone lines now. Speak to political scientist Dr. Ivan Sagredako, is with the University of Ghana. He's joining us on phone now with some thoughts on this name we are picking right now. Dr. Sagredako, good morning. Many thanks for joining us on News Desk, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Right. Doc, so this is what we are picking on the ground. Another female running mate for the Progressive People's Party. The last time they had a female candidate, and indeed that was the first time they were even contesting the elections, they managed to poll 64,362 votes. That was 0.59% of the total votes cast anyway, but they were the third party. Do you think this will in any way be a reflection of the ideology and indeed the way forward for the party, and is it likely to show up their numbers?
Yeah, thank you very much and good morning to your listeners. I think it's pragmatism. They are just being pragmatic. I think if you look at the last elections, I think they were third in terms of if you look at the ranking, so to speak. The party which had just been formed, as you said, looking at the background of the prime mover, Dr. Bakwe, if you look at his background, look at his professional background, if you look at his academic background, I mean, he's somebody who really marries academic excellence and professional development effectively. I mean, industry and creating jobs and remember when he was with CPP, they called him a Mura and so on. So he comes across as somebody who is very diligent, a hands-on person. He's not a laissez-faire leader. He appears to be a serious transformational individual. I would say that he really combines transformational and transactional leadership styles effectively. So he appeals to a number of people. But sometimes the traditions of the NDC and NPP are quite strong, and that is why they will always continue, or they always will start election as underdogs. But just as they pull some surprises the last time around, they are likely to pull some surprise again, provided the following that they have now will translate into empirical votes. You see, because human beings, you and I, we are not angels on earth, and because you and I are also the most variable of all the variables, sometimes we are not sure. We can't really predict, with absolute certainty, especially in our part of the world where people, sometimes we tend to be fickle and we change our minds so quickly. We need to be consistent with the decisions that we take. Of course, nobody is suggesting that if change becomes important or becomes eminent, they stuck in your old bad ways or whatever you are used to. But we change so quickly, and that sometimes affect the fortunes of the people that we support. Now, if we look at a female candidate, the last time around PPP fielded a female candidate, you cannot be able to disaggregate. You can't really say that may have influence or not influence. But in total, we are looking at one of the surest ways by which you can assess the performance of any organization, for instance, look at maybe the outcome, the results, the end results, what really specific output they have, and so on. So when you look at the outcome, you will say that yes, they did a number of things right, perhaps by fielding female candidates. If you look at a female candidate, I haven't checked the background yet, but I believe strongly that they will look at somebody who also with some solid credentials, some academic background, somebody perhaps who understands the terrain and who is down to earth. They may also be interested in personality, because I always tell my students that good looks is also a power resource. So they will look at all these variables at the end of the day to fill the individual to see whether in partnering with accuracy they can do the trick. But the fact that you are picking a woman is not. We are not doing. I don't think it's doing women a favor. They have a stake. Women constitute almost about 51% of our population. And therefore, if you want to go by this simple semblance model of representation, they ought to be at the highest level of decision making. Understand? So if you have somebody or a political party who is saying that, looking at the contribution some women have made, and in several places that the women have been, they have delivered. We've had some who have been, bank managers, some have headed the bank. We have women who have been professors. We had the vice chair of the international ICC at The Hague. We had certain prominent individuals. Professor Abinador Fine was the pro-vice chancellor of the University of Ghana when I was a student. We've had people who have been vice chancellors, the UCC, for instance, who's the Minister of Education. We still have very prominent guys, some at the World Bank and other very, very serious institutions in this country. Go to the educational sector, for instance, and check the number of directors there who are women. Phenomenal. When you go to the national headquarters, a lot of the GES and they occupy very sensitive positions. And even if you check the directorate, the district directorate of education, for instance, so these people are occupying all these sensitive positions, training minds, and delivering on a core mandate they've been given in administering.
Some would say this is a great idea, but indeed, looking at the candidates, will it be such a fantastic one? By way of a quick background, this is a lady who is a lot more into the social sciences. For almost 12 years, we are told, Bridget Jogbenuku, she's been the general manager of Aviation Social Center, which we all know as a fitness and entertainment center. That's necessarily one thing that stands out. She's also been Miss Ghana before. She was Miss Ghana in 1991. Aside that, she's chaired a few other things, but nothing really substantial here. Would you not say that this would be too much of a gamble?
Oh, nothing substantial. How? I mean, at the time, you need to look at the person's. I mean, even the ability to contest and win Miss Ghana is phenomenal. You know, if you look at the drill, the processes they go through, interrogating you on a number of issues, you need individuals, not necessarily with very, very impeccable academic credentials, not necessarily a lot of titles, Professor this or Dr. that or whatever. But we might also need some hands-on individuals who have been able to turn certain things around. They occupy some leadership positions. They've been able to deal with human beings. They have an excellent appreciation of the dynamics of the politics of the state. They know how they can turn things around. They have good human relations. You need to be able to manage, so to speak, overall. And of course, if you look at the capacity of Pakwesi, I mean, he is out there, and that's what I said, that he comes across as what somebody, Plato, for instance, said, that you need to strike a serious relationship or a synergy between men of action and men of thought. So he combines the two effectively. The man of action, the man of thought. He can engage in a serious intellectual analysis to be able to. So you need a smart person generally to be able. And of course, if you are a smart person, it gives you the capacity to even appreciate the utility of even the advice that we are given.
Indeed.
And that is why Machiavelli says that, look, it takes a smart person to appoint another smart person. And that is why I will want to judge the quality of a leader. Among other things, I also want to see the quality of appointment the person makes. Because all these things will go into, or will speak to the person's capacity to govern and so on. So we need to give them the support. If I say the support, not necessarily the support for the fact that they're trying to reach out to the various segments of the population. Because if you want to develop as a people, then no segment of the society should be left behind, for instance.
No, would you consider Bridget Jogbenuku the most ideal person within the PPP ranks to partner its flag bearer?
Oh no, a lot of things will go into the choice of a candidate, and they may have done a lot of background, backroom or behind the scenes maneuvering by way of trying to convince individuals here and there. You need somebody who, some people are seriously qualified, but they are not interested in the serious politics. They will not want to be at the forefront. That's important. There are people who may want to be at the forefront, but they may not have the thick skin to be able to withstand the rough waters of politics. You may want to look at the person's constituency, for instance, what a person has been able to achieve in life, and whether indeed he or she brings anything at all to the ticket. Don't forget that in a political party contest, or in a contest going into an election, a number of variables will have to be considered. Ours is an emerging democracy. Ours is a transitional democracy. And our democracy is skin deep. It's still very fragile. That people are very much interested in identity politics, where the person comes from, a person's religion, person's background, and so on. So apart from the fact that people are going to vote on the lines of tradition, that I am supporting the UP tradition, or Gromaism, or I am for maybe Rawlings' tradition or NDC background. You are also interested in who is leading the I'm very conscious of the capacity of the individual to take even mature judgment or to exercise mature judgment.
Okay.
Because we are not just going to represent yourself. And I also want my leaders I want to be proud of my leaders. So these several variables go into that. And in the choice of candidates, you will agree with me that the caliber of Pakwesi is not somebody who will be wishy-washy and will be puerile, in the selection process.
Doc, finally,
a number of factors will inform.
Finally, I just want to find out whether this decision will in any way impact or have an influence on the outcome of this year's general elections. In your opinion?
It depends on how they will craft their message. It depends on how they will be consistent with their message, and it depends on how they will be able to market the individual's concern. And I will also be interested in the chemistry, whether the two of them can work effectively and will not be speaking across purpose on a number of critical issues. Yes, they will start as underdogs, but let's see what really happens, because if they were able to perform in the last election 2000, barely a few months leading, when they really had to hit the ground running with all the registration of both supporters among others, they were able to do that. We expect that this time around they will improve upon their performance, knowing very well that major political parties have had problems. We're expecting that the CPP will be the third force, and that is still with the hope, and we're just hoping. But within the politics of the state, nobody has a divine right to anything. So you are going to be rewarded based on your work, your output. Indeed. And so let's see what happens, and then we'll come back and certainly they may have to have some positive spillover effect, looking at the capacity of even the flag bearer and the fact that he seems to be hitting the nail right on the head with his policy prescriptions. They seem to resonate with the broad masses. And as to whether these broad acceptance will resonate with the broad masses is something that we're going to see in the next elections. But I will be expecting that they will still deliver. They will still start as underdogs, nevertheless. But they are likely to improve upon their overall standing, in terms of the number of votes they will garner in the process. Yes.
Doc, many thanks for your time on News Desk this morning. We really appreciate your thoughts on this very issue. And as a senior political science lecturer with the University of Ghana, Dr. Evans Agri Darko, with some thoughts on the running mate for the PPP's flag bearer, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom. Now, the information available to join you suggests it is going to be one Bridget Jogpe Nuku, who was one-time Miss Ghana in 1991. We'll be bringing you more on this in subsequent bulletins here on your election headquarters, your Joy News channel here on Multi TV.